1. We're going to take a closer look at a 1980 Ford F100 that's currently for sale at a price of $7,500. Now, I want to be completely honest with you. The seller has provided a detailed description of the truck, and it's important that we go through it carefully to understand the condition of the vehicle. The odometer reads 83,000 miles, but given the age of the truck, the seller believes it's more likely to be around 183,000 miles. One thing to note is that while this F100 was originally a factory AC truck, the compressor has been removed at some point, so it currently doesn't have air conditioning. Keep that in mind if you're considering this truck for your summer drives. The seller is located in Sarasota, FL, and they're asking $7,500 or best offer for the truck. They've mentioned that if they can't get close to that price, they'll hold on to it and continue restoring it piece by piece themselves. Now let's talk about the condition of the truck. The seller states that it's entirely rust-free, except for the cab corners and one of the rain gutters. That's actually pretty impressive for a truck of this age. The seller has owned the truck for about a year and a half, and during that time, they've made several replacements and repairs. These include the front left brake caliper, pads and line, fuel pump, all fuel hoses, fuel sending unit, fuel filter, spark plugs, distributor wires, battery, starter motor, alternator, starter solenoid, negative or ground cable, and more. They've also fixed all the lights, replaced wiper blades, changed the oil and filter, and had the carburetor rebuilt and tuned by a shop. However, the seller does mention that the carburetor still isn't working great, so they plan on replacing it shortly. They also had an issue with the turn signal switch, which they'll be addressing as well. Overall, this 1980 Ford F100 seems to be in fairly good condition considering its age, with the seller being upfront about the work that's been done and the issues that still need to be addressed. If you're in the market for a classic truck project, this could be a great opportunity. 2. We're going to take a closer look at a 1983 Chevrolet C10 Silverado that's currently up for grabs at a price of $14,500. Now, I always strive to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this truck seems to be in excellent condition. The seller mentions that it has only been driven for 45,900 miles, which is quite low for a vehicle of this age. Under the hood, you'll find a 305 cubic inch small block Chevy engine paired with a 700R automatic transmission. The seller emphasizes that this truck is ready to drive anywhere, giving you peace of mind when it comes to its reliability. One of the standout features of this C10 is that it's a factory AC truck, which is a great bonus for those hot summer days. The seller also mentions that the truck has its original paint, which is a testament to how well it has been maintained over the years. To top it off, the truck has brand new wheels and tires, adding to its overall appeal and road readiness. The seller assures potential buyers that everything works as it should, which is always a good sign when considering a classic vehicle. Aesthetically, the truck boasts a sleek black exterior and a matching black interior, giving it a timeless and classic look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The seller is asking $14,500 or best offer for this beautiful 1983 Chevrolet C10 Silverado. Considering its excellent condition, low mileage, and desirable features, this price seems quite reasonable for a classic truck of this caliber. As with any vehicle purchase, I always recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any additional questions or concerns. They seem to be open to inquiries, so don't hesitate to ask for more information or additional photos if needed. If you're in the market for a classic truck that's ready to hit the road and turn heads, this 1983 Chevrolet C10 Silverado might just be the perfect fit for you. 3. We're going to take a look at a 1984 Chevrolet C10 that's currently for sale at a price of $15,000. Now, I always aim to be completely transparent with you, so let's dive into the seller's description and see what we can learn about this classic truck. The seller's description is quite brief, but it does highlight some key points about the vehicle. They mention that this 84 C10 Silverado has new everything, which suggests that the truck has undergone some significant upgrades and improvements. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.7-liter engine, which is likely a reference to the popular 350 cubic inch V8 that was commonly found in Chevrolet trucks of this era. The seller also mentions a 350 transmission, which is likely an automatic based on the information provided in the ad. Moving to the interior, the seller notes that the truck features a TMI console, Pro car seats, and a new dash. These upgrades indicate that the cabin has been modernized and enhanced for improved comfort and style. The seller also mentions door motors, which could refer to power window motors or perhaps an upgraded sound system. But without more details, it's hard to say for certain. Aesthetically, the truck has a blue exterior, but the seller doesn't provide any information about the interior color. Now, it's important to note that while the seller mentions new everything, they don't go into specific details about the extent of the work done or the overall condition of the truck. Without seeing more photos or getting a closer look at the vehicle, it's difficult to assess its true state. The asking price of $15,000 seems to be on the higher end for a 1984 Chevrolet C10, but if the truck has indeed undergone extensive upgrades and is in excellent condition, it could potentially justify the price tag. 4. We're going to take a closer look at a 1976 Chevrolet Blazer that's currently up for sale at a price of $2,000 or best offer. Now, I always strive to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, it's important to understand that this Blazer is a project vehicle that comes with some significant challenges. The seller clearly states that this is a barn find, which typically means a vehicle that has been stored or abandoned for an extended period. Barn finds can be exciting discoveries for car enthusiasts, but they often require a lot of work to get them back on the road. One of the most critical pieces of information provided by the seller is that the Blazer comes with no title and no keys. The lack of a title can make it difficult or even impossible to register the vehicle, depending on your location and the specific circumstances surrounding the missing title. This is a crucial factor to consider before making a purchase. The seller also suggests that this Blazer could be used for a mud bog truck, parts, or someone's project. This implies that the vehicle is likely in poor condition and may not be suitable for immediate use on the road. Unfortunately, the seller doesn't provide any details about the Blazer's mechanical condition, interior state, or any other potential issues. The lack of information and the missing title and keys suggest that this vehicle is a significant project that will require a considerable investment of time, money, and effort to restore or repurpose. The asking price of $2,000 or best offer might seem attractive for a classic Blazer, but it's essential to factor in the potential costs of repairs, restoration, and the challenges of obtaining a title before making a decision. If you're up for a serious project and have the skills, resources, and patience to take on a barn find like this 1976 Chevrolet Blazer, it could be an exciting opportunity. However, if you're looking for a vehicle that's ready to hit the road, this probably isn't the best choice. 5. We're going to take a look at a 1979 Ford F-250 that's currently for sale at a price of $8,000. Now, I always aim to be completely transparent with you, but in this case, the seller hasn't provided any description or details about the truck. This makes it challenging to give you a comprehensive overview of the vehicle's condition, features, or history. Without any information from the seller, we can only rely on the basic details provided in the listing. We know it's a 1979 Ford F-250, and the asking price is $8,000. However, we don't have any insight into the truck's mileage, transmission type, exterior, or interior colors, or any other relevant features. The lack of a description from the seller raises some concerns. It could be an oversight on their part, or it might suggest that they are not being entirely forthcoming about the vehicle's condition. It's essential to approach this listing with caution and to gather as much information as possible before considering a purchase. If you're interested in this 1979 Ford F-250, I strongly recommend reaching out to the seller and asking for more details. Request information about the truck's mechanical condition, rust issues, interior state, and any other relevant factors. Also, don't hesitate to ask for additional photos showcasing the vehicle from different angles and highlighting any potential problem areas. Remember, when a seller provides little to no information about a vehicle, It's crucial to do your due diligence and gather as much data as possible before making a decision. A classic truck like this, 1979 Ford F-250, could be an excellent project or a reliable workhorse, but without more details, it's impossible to say for sure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more content about the most interesting cars and trucks available on Facebook Marketplace. And as always, if you come across a listing with limited information, be sure to ask questions and proceed with caution. 6. We're going to take a closer look at a 1985 Chevrolet 1500 that's currently for sale at a price of $10,500. Now, I always strive to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this truck seems to be in good condition with some notable upgrades. The seller mentions that the truck has been driven only 100 miles, which is incredibly low for a vehicle of this age. However, it's important to clarify whether this is the actual mileage or if it's the mileage since a rebuild or restoration. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.3-liter engine, which is likely a modern upgrade from the original power plant. This engine is commonly found in more recent Chevrolet trucks and SUVs, and is known for its reliability and performance. Paired with this engine is a 4L60 automatic transmission, which should provide smooth shifting and good drivability. Another great feature of this truck is its 4x4 drivetrain, which makes it capable of handling various terrains and weather conditions. The exterior of the truck is described as gray, while the interior is green. The seller doesn't provide any details about the condition of the paint or the interior, so it might be worth asking for more information or photos to get a better sense of the truck's overall appearance. The seller states that the vehicle has a clean title and no significant damage or problems. This is a positive sign, as it suggests that the truck has been well maintained and hasn't been involved in any major accidents. The asking price of $10,500 seems reasonable for a 1985 Chevrolet 1500 with low mileage and modern upgrades, especially if the condition of the truck is as good as the seller suggests. As always, I recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any questions or need more information. It's a good idea to inquire about the truck's history, maintenance records, and any additional details that could help you make an informed decision. 7. We're going to take a closer look at a 1979 Chevrolet El Camino that's currently for sale at a price of $12,000. Now, I always aim to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description and the provided photos, this El Camino seems to be in excellent condition both inside and out. The seller mentions that the vehicle has been driven for 120,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy and convenient to drive. One of the most striking features of this El Camino is its beautiful beige gold exterior color, which appears to be in pristine condition based on the photos. The seller also notes that the car has classic chrome accents and wheels, adding to its vintage charm and appeal. Moving to the interior, the seller describes it as clean and well-maintained, suggesting that the car has been properly cared for over the years. The spacious truck bed is another highlight of this El Camino, and the seller mentions that it is in pristine condition. This makes the vehicle not only stylish but also practical for hauling cargo or enjoying weekend getaways. Under the hood, the seller notes that the El Camino has a reliable engine and smooth handling, which is great news for potential buyers looking for a classic car that's not just a showpiece, but also a joy to drive. As a bonus, the seller points out that the car has California blue license plates, adding an extra touch of vintage cool to this already impressive vehicle. The asking price of $12,000 seems fair for a 1979 Chevrolet El Camino in such excellent condition with low mileage and desirable features. As always, I recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any questions or want to learn more about the car's history and maintenance records. It's also a good idea to schedule a viewing and a test drive if you're seriously interested in making a purchase. 8. We're going to take a closer look at a 1985 Ford Bronco 2 that's currently for sale at a price of $5,150. Now, I always strive to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this Bronco 2 seems to be in fair condition with some notable features and a few areas that may need attention. The seller mentions that this Bronco 2 is unrestored and in driver quality condition, which suggests that it's not a show car, but rather a vehicle that can be driven and enjoyed as is. The car is equipped with a carbureted 2.8L V6 engine that produces 115 horsepower and is paired with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive. One of the standout features of this Bronco 2 is its four-wheel drive system with lockout hubs, which is great for off-road adventures or navigating rough terrain. The seller also notes that the vehicle has good, solid, non-rusty Arizona sheet metal, which is a big plus for a car of this age. The exterior paint is described as presentable but dull, indicating that it may benefit from a polish or even a repaint to restore its shine. On the other hand, the original interior is said to be in great condition, which is a pleasant surprise for a vehicle that's over 35 years old. This Bronco 2 comes with a range of features, including air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, power windows, power locks, an AM/FM stereo radio, tilt wheel, and cruise control. These amenities add to the car's comfort and convenience. The seller mentions that the Bronco 2 has off-road style tires mounted on steel wheels, which is fitting for its 4x4 capabilities. They also include 4 new shock absorbers, which is a thoughtful addition for the next owner. The vehicle is believed to have around 113,000 miles, which is relatively low for its age. The seller has also installed a new battery, ensuring that the car is ready to go. The asking price of $5,150 cash seems reasonable for a 1985 Ford Bronco 2 in this condition, especially considering its 404 capabilities, solid sheet metal, and included extras. As always, I recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any questions or want to learn more about the car's history and maintenance records. It's also a good idea to schedule a viewing and a test drive to get a better sense of the vehicle's overall condition. 9. We're going to take a closer look at a 1978 Chevrolet Blazer that's currently for sale at a price of $14,000. Now, I always aim to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this Blazer seems to have undergone a full restoration, with some minor issues that potential buyers should be aware of. The seller mentions that the Blazer was fully restored, including the exterior and the engine or transmission, about a year ago. Since then, the vehicle has run perfectly, with very low miles on the new engine. The car has been converted to an automatic transmission, making it easier to drive. One of the great things about this Blazer is that it has been stored under a cover, protecting it from sun damage. The seller also notes that the car has been in the family for as long as they can remember, which suggests that it may have sentimental value and has been well cared for. However, there are a few issues that potential buyers should take into consideration. The left window is off its track, which means it doesn't fully close, stopping about an inch from being completely shut. The gas gauge is also slightly off, and the speedometer hasn't been wired up yet, although the wires are present. The seller states that all the oils in the vehicle are topped off and that it's ready to sell. The Blazer comes with new tires, but the rims are original and have been restored. It's important to note that there is no radio or speakers installed, but the car is radio ready. The exterior color of the Blazer is blue, and the interior is also blue. The seller mentions that the vehicle has a clean title, which is a positive sign. The asking price of $14,000 seems reasonable for a fully restored 1978 Chevrolet Blazer, especially considering the low miles on the new engine and the fact that it has been in the family for a long time. As always, I recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any questions or want to learn more about the car's history and the extent of the restoration work. It's also a good idea to schedule a viewing and a test drive to get a better sense of the vehicle's overall condition and to assess the mentioned issues in person. 10. We're going to take a closer look at a 1975 Ford F-250 that's currently for sale at a price of $12,000 or best offer. Now, I always strive to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this F-250 seems to be in pretty good condition for its age, with a few minor issues to keep in mind. The seller mentions that the truck has a 390 gas motor and brand new tires. which is great news for potential buyers. The factory AC is also a nice bonus, especially for those hot summer days. One of the standout features of this F-250 is its four-wheel drive capability, making it a versatile truck for various terrains and weather conditions. The seller also notes that the body is pretty straight for its age, which is a testament to how well it has been maintained over the years. However, the seller does mention one spot of rust on the driver's side door, about the size of a quarter. While this is a relatively small issue, it's important to keep in mind and may require some attention to prevent further rust development. The truck has been driven for approximately 100,000 miles, which is not unusual for a vehicle of this age. It's equipped with a manual transmission, which may appeal to those who prefer a more engaging driving experience. The exterior color of the truck is blue, but the seller doesn't provide any information about the interior color or condition. It might be worth asking for more details or photos of the interior to get a better sense of its overall state. The seller mentions that the truck has had 2 owners, which is a relatively low number for a vehicle that's nearly 50 years old. This could be a good sign, as it suggests that the truck has been well cared for throughout its life. The asking price of $12,000 or best offer seems reasonable for a 1975 Ford F-250 in this condition, especially considering its four-wheel drive capability, factory AC, and straight body. 11. We're going to take a closer look at a 1980 Chevrolet Silverado that's currently for sale at a price of $2,000. Now, I always aim to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this Silverado seems to be a non-running project truck with some potential for restoration. The seller mentions that the truck is a single cab, long bed, and a 2WD model, not a 4x4. It's equipped with a classic V8 engine, specifically a 305 cubic inch motor, paired with an automatic transmission. The seller notes that the engine and transmission are matching numbers, meaning they are the original components from the factory. One of the positive aspects of this Silverado is that it's a clean Texas truck with a clean Texas title. The seller also states that the vehicle has no significant damage or problems, which is a good starting point for a restoration project. However, it's important to note that the truck is not currently running. The seller mentions that everything is there and complete, but potential buyers should be prepared to invest time and money into getting the vehicle back on the road. The exterior color of the truck is blue, and the interior is tan. The seller doesn't provide any detailed information about the condition of the paint, body, or interior, so it might be worth asking for more photos or scheduling a viewing to assess the truck's overall state. The seller is open to considering trades for various American muscle cars, such as Mustang GTs, Fox body Camaros, Trans Ams, and more. They also mention interest in other classic trucks, like K5 Blazers and Broncos, as well as newer vehicles like Jeep Wranglers, Cadillacs, and Porsches. The asking price of $2,000 seems reasonable for a non-running 1980 Chevrolet Silverado with a clean title and no major damage. However, potential buyers should factor in the costs of restoration and repairs when considering this truck. As always, I recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any questions or want to learn more about the truck's history and condition. It's also a good idea to schedule a viewing to get a better sense of the vehicle's overall state and to assess the work needed to get it back on the road. 12. We're going to take a closer look at a 1984 Chevrolet 1500 that's currently for sale at a price of $8,000. Now, I always strive to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this truck has some great features, but also a significant issue that potential buyers should be aware of. Let's start with the positives. The seller mentions that the truck has a clean body with no rust, which is a big plus for a vehicle of this age. It's also equipped with 20 rims that have less than 5,000 miles on them, giving the truck a nice, updated look. The exterior color of the truck is red, and the interior is brown. The seller doesn't provide any detailed information about the condition of the paint or interior, so it might be worth asking for more photos or scheduling a viewing to assess their overall state. Under the hood, the truck currently has a 350 cubic inch engine that runs, but the transmission is where the problem lies. The seller states that the transmission torque converter is bad, rendering the transmission unusable. However, the seller also mentions that the truck is ready for an LS engine swap, and even includes a 5.3-liter LS engine with 124,000 miles on it as part of the sale. This could be a great opportunity for someone looking to upgrade the truck's power and performance. It's important to note that the seller is firm on the $8,000 price and is not interested in trades. They also emphasize that the truck is not cut down from a long bed, which is good information for potential buyers to have. The truck has been driven for 154,000 miles, which is not unusual for a vehicle of this age. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, but as mentioned earlier, the transmission is currently not functioning properly. As always, I recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any questions or want to learn more about the truck's history and condition. It's also a good idea to schedule a viewing to get a better sense of the vehicle's overall state and to assess the work needed to replace the transmission or perform the LS engine swap. 13. We're going to take a closer look at a 1979 Ford F-150 that's currently for sale at a price of $11,000. Now, I always aim to be completely honest with you, but in this case, the seller has provided very limited information about the truck, which makes it challenging to give you a comprehensive overview of its condition and features. What we do know from the seller's brief description is that this 1979 F-150 is a 4x4 model, which means it has four-wheel drive capabilities. This is a great feature for those who need a truck that can handle tough terrain or adverse weather conditions. Under the hood, the truck is equipped with a 351 modified engine. The 351 cubic inch engine was a popular choice for Ford trucks in the late 1970s and is known for its power and durability. However, without more information from the seller, it's difficult to assess the engine's current condition or performance. The truck has a manual transmission, which may appeal to those who prefer a more engaging driving experience. However, the seller doesn't specify the exact type of manual transmission or how many gears it has. The exterior color of the truck is listed as blue, but there are no details provided about the condition of the paint or body. Similarly, the seller doesn't mention anything about the interior color or condition. One positive aspect is that the seller states the vehicle is paid off, which means there are no outstanding loans or liens on the truck. The asking price of $11,000 seems to be on the higher end for a 1979 Ford F-150, especially considering the limited information provided. Without more details about the truck's overall condition, mileage, and maintenance history, it's difficult to determine if this price is justified. As always, I strongly recommend reaching out to the seller if you're interested in this truck. Ask for more photos, information about the truck's history, and any other relevant details that can help you make an informed decision. It's also a good idea to schedule a viewing and a test drive to get a better sense of the vehicle's condition and performance. 14. We're going to take a closer look at a 1985 Chevrolet C10 that's currently for sale at a price of $9,500. Now, I always strive to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this C10 seems to be in good condition, especially considering its age. The seller mentions that the truck is in good condition for its year, which is a positive sign. They also state that it runs and drives excellently, with the engine and transmission working well. This is great news for potential buyers, as it suggests that the truck has been well maintained and is suitable for daily use. One of the most impressive aspects of this C10 is its low mileage. The seller reports that the truck has only been driven for 32,000 miles, which is exceptionally low for a vehicle that's nearly 40 years old. This low mileage could indicate that the truck has been well cared for and has not been subjected to excessive wear and tear. The truck is equipped with an automatic transmission, which makes it easy and convenient to drive. The exterior color is listed as silver, while the interior is blue. The seller doesn't provide any detailed information about the condition of the paint or interior, so it might be worth asking for more photos or scheduling a viewing to assess their overall state. Another positive aspect of this C10 is that it comes with a clean title, meaning there are no outstanding legal or financial issues associated with the vehicle. The seller also states that the truck has no significant damage or problems, which is reassuring for potential buyers. The asking price of $9,500 seems to be fair for a 1985 Chevrolet C10 in good condition with low mileage. However, as with any used vehicle purchase, it's always a good idea to have the truck inspected by a trusted mechanic before finalizing the deal. As always, I recommend reaching out to the seller if you have any questions or want to learn more about the truck's history and condition. It's also a good idea to schedule a viewing and a test drive to get a better sense of the vehicle's overall state and performance. 15. We're going to take a closer look at a 1975 Chevrolet Custom that's currently for sale at a price of $8,000. Now, I always aim to be completely honest with you, and based on the seller's description, this Chevy Custom seems to be a solid and functional 4x4 truck, although it does have some cosmetic issues and modifications. The seller mentions that the truck runs and drives well, with good tires, making it road-ready. This is a positive sign, as it suggests that the truck has been maintained and is in good mechanical condition. One important thing to note is that the truck has undergone an engine swap. Originally, it came with a 454 cubic inch engine, but that has been replaced with a 350 cubic inch engine from a 1968 Corvette. This modification could be seen as a positive or negative depending on your preferences and the condition of the replacement engine. The truck is equipped with a TH400 automatic transmission and 8 lug axles, which are known for their strength and durability. The seller also states that the 4x4 system works great, which is a crucial feature for a truck like this. Now, let's address the cosmetic issues. The seller is upfront about the fact that this is not a show truck. There is some rust present under the doors, and there are a few small dents in the front fenders. However, the seller assures potential buyers that these issues are nothing major, and that the truck is solid overall. The exterior and interior colors are both listed as brown. The seller doesn't provide any detailed information about the condition of the paint or interior, so it might be worth asking for more photos or scheduling a viewing to assess their overall state. The truck has been driven for 150 through 417 miles, which is not uncommon for a vehicle of this age. The seller also mentions that the vehicle is paid off, which means there are no outstanding loans or liens on the truck. The asking price of $8,000 seems to be reasonable for a functional 1975 Chevrolet Custom 4x4 with a replaced engine, considering the truck's overall condition and the seller's transparency about its issues. 16. We're taking a look at a 1965 Ford F100 with a price tag of $5,500. Let's dive into the details and see what this vintage beauty has to offer. First off, the seller mentions that the truck has a clean title under their name, and the registration is valid until July 31st, 2025. That's a good sign, as it indicates the vehicle has no major legal issues. Under the hood, you'll find a rebuilt 302 engine that's been bored .030 over, paired with a 600 CFM Holly Street Warrior carburetor and a Pertronix 2 ignition system. The rest of the engine is said to be stock. A new aluminum 3-row radiator has been installed to keep things cool. One notable modification is the transmission swap. The original C4 automatic has been replaced with a manual T170 RTS 4-speed with overdrive. The clutch, starter, and drive shaft have all been replaced as well. The seller has also put in work on the charging system, ignition system, brakes, steering, and suspension. All the bushings have been replaced, ensuring a smoother ride. The drum brakes all around have been updated with new shoes, drums, hardware, and wheel cylinders. Lighting-wise, the truck now sports new LED headlights, and all other lights, such as turn signals, brake, and running lights, are functioning properly. The wiper motor and arms have also been replaced. Now the seller does mention a few points of attention. There is minor rust on the driver's side drip rail and under the bed. However, they state that the rust does not affect the structure or integrity of the vehicle and can be patched. They also recommend getting new valve stems at your next tire change, and note that the front passenger wheel stud needs to be replaced. Overall, This 1965 Ford F-100 seems to be in decent shape with many new parts and upgrades. The seller appears to be transparent about the minor issues, which is always appreciated. If you're in the market for a classic truck with some character, this one might be worth checking out. The seller even offers delivery for a non-refundable deposit that would credit towards the total price. 17. We're taking a closer look at a 1985 Chevrolet El Camino with an asking price of $15,000. Let's dive into the details provided by the seller and see what this unique ride has to offer. First things first, the seller mentions that this El Camino has a clean title, which is always a good sign. It's important to have a clear ownership history when purchasing a used vehicle. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 454 engine paired with a TH400 automatic transmission. This combination is known for its impressive performance capabilities, making this El Camino a force to be reckoned with on the road. One of the standout features of this particular El Camino is the set of 26 IROC wheels. These wheels give the car a bold and aggressive stance, sure to turn heads wherever you go. Now, it's important to note that the seller's description is quite brief. They don't provide much information about the overall condition of the vehicle, such as the state of the interior, any potential rust issues, or recent maintenance history. This is something to keep in mind when considering this El Camino. The mileage is listed at 150,000, which is relatively high for a classic car. However, if the vehicle has been well maintained throughout its life, this may not be a major concern. It would be wise to request more information from the seller about the car's service records and any repairs or upgrades that have been made over the years. Given the limited information provided, it's crucial to thoroughly inspect the El Camino in person before making a decision. Take a close look at the body for any signs of damage or rust, and make sure to check the condition of the interior as well. A test drive is also highly recommended to get a feel for how the car runs and handles. In summary, this 1985 Chevrolet El Camino with a 454 engine and 26 IROC wheels could be an exciting opportunity for the right buyer. However, the lack of detailed information in the seller's description means that potential buyers should proceed with caution and do their due diligence before making an offer. If you're interested in this unique classic, be sure to ask the seller for more details and arrange an in-person inspection to ensure it meets your expectations. 18. Let me tell you about this interesting 1973 Ford F-350 I found on Marketplace for $8,500. This is one of those classic workhorses, a super camper special with the massive 460 V8 engine and C6 automatic transmission. The brown exterior and interior might not be everyone's first choice, but it's actually pretty period correct for a 73 model. What's really catching my eye here is that it's a 1-ton truck with the longer 140-inch wheelbase, which was specifically designed for carrying campers, hence the Super Camper Special designation. The pull-out rear bumper was a neat feature for these trucks, making them more versatile for various uses. The seller states it's in very good condition with a clean title and no significant issues, which is pretty impressive for a 50-year-old truck. However, I should mention that the unknown mileage is something you'd want to look into. These old Fords are built tough, but it's always good to know what you're getting into. For $8,500, considering today's classic truck market and the fact that these super camper specials are becoming increasingly rare, it could be a solid deal if everything checks out mechanically. That 460 V8 is a thirsty beast, but it's also one of the most reliable engines Ford ever made. Just remember, like any vehicle from 1973, you'll want to give it a thorough inspection and maybe bring along a mechanic who knows these old Fords before making a decision. 19. Let me tell you about this 1968 Chevrolet van that's up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace for $5,500. Wait a minute, I noticed there might be some confusion here. The description you've provided is actually for a 1998 Chevy C10 pickup truck, not a 1968 van. Let me focus on the vehicle that's actually being sold here. This is a 1998 Chevy C10 long bed step-side pickup, and I'll be straight with you. It's got some issues that need addressing. The seller is upfront about the engine making noise, which is a red flag we can't ignore. It's running a 355 small block Chevy engine, 4-bolt main. With some nice performance upgrades like a Comp Cam's Thumper Cam, Chevy Performance hydraulic lifters, and long tube headers with Flowmaster 40 series exhaust. The truck has 120,000 miles on it and rocks some classic Krager dish wheels that give it that old-school charm. It's got a 3-speed manual transmission with a granny low first gear, which is pretty cool for those who appreciate vintage drivetrains. The seller seems honest, mentioning they parked it as soon as the engine started making noise, and they're willing to fix it if it doesn't sell. That's actually a good sign of transparency. At $5,500 OBO, or best offer, you're looking at a project truck that needs engine work, but has some decent performance parts already installed. Just keeping it real. This isn't a turnkey vehicle, but it could be a solid project for someone who's mechanically inclined or willing to invest in repairs. The price point reflects the engine issues, so you'd need to factor in repair costs when considering this purchase. 20. Let me tell you about this interesting 1979 Chevrolet C20 Scottsdale that's up for grabs at $7,500. This is one of those rare finds where the seller seems genuinely attached to their vehicle and is remarkably honest about its condition. The truck has 130,000 miles on the odometer, but here's what makes it special. It's got a rebuilt engine with only about 20,000 miles on it. We're talking about a mild cam setup with 1.94 heads and flat-top pistons, all professionally rebuilt with receipts to prove it. Let's be real about both the good and the not-so-good. The good stuff first. This C20 is apparently rust-free, which is huge for a 79, runs a reliable TH400 automatic transmission that shifts smoothly, and has working AC and cruise control. The dual 20-gallon tanks are functioning properly with working gauges. That's rare for these old trucks. The bed and tailgate are in great shape, suggesting this was more of a gentleman's truck than a workhorse. Now for the honest downsides, the paint job isn't great. The seller admits it was repainted poorly, though they mention the original paint underneath looks good with no Bondo. That's promising. The seat is torn up and needs attention. But hey, at least they're upfront about it. Some nice upgrades include an Edelbrock intake, mechanical choke carb, though the cable needs setting up, and an aluminum radiator that keeps things cool even while towing. For $7,500, you're getting a solid, rust-free classic truck with a freshly rebuilt engine and working AC. That's pretty decent in today's market. Sure, it needs some cosmetic love. But finding a rust-free 79 C20 with good mechanicals isn't easy. Just remember, you'll need to budget for paint and interior work if you want it perfect. This seems like one of those honest trucks that just needs someone with vision to make it shine again. The seller's transparency about its condition makes this listing stand out in a good way.